everyone! Today I want to film a few videos and we start with a book review because it's been a long time since I reviewed a book. And I just finished Mistborn, The Well of Ascension by Sanderson. It's part 2 in the Mistborn series and here's my review. I have to look at my notes because there's a lot of stuff I want to tell you about this book, but I want to keep it really short. I read the first book, The Final Empire, in December and I really loved it. It got 5 stars from me and it was my favorite book of the year. I picked book 2 up in February and I was really excited. I had really high hopes. Maybe that's why it didn't feel the same for me as with book 1, where I didn't have expectations. And so yeah, book 2 takes part 1 year after book 1. If you read book 1, then you know there are things happening and the whole world has changed for them, and now we are 1 year later and see how it all works out for them. All their hopes they had at the beginning of book 1 and what they do with it now. It starts with a lot of politics and I'm not a big fan of politics. I think it can be really interesting, but it also can be really boring when there's just arguments between all parts and all those stupid people involved. And yeah, I really didn't like that part as much. Seist, the man from Terrace, he plays a big part as well, and we see him not only in the city but on his journeys around the kingdom. Yeah, what I want to say is that I read the books in German and I know that they changed a lot of names from certain characters. For example, is it Elend Venture? Okay, he's named Elan Wager in German, and I think this name is better suited to him. I don't know. I really like the German translation because Elend in German means elend, and it is... oh, what's the word for it? Okay, so yeah, there are all those German words. So it's hard for me to describe certain aspects because I have another word for it as you, the English reader. But I try my best. I loved Seist, and we also get to know another person from Terrace, and she is really interesting as well. Then we get to know another Mistborn and a few more nobility people. It's kind of a battlefield, the whole book, and you don't know what happens next. I loved that there was even more mystery in book 2. There is something more special about the mists, and you also learn a lot about the Well of Ascension. I mean, the title promises it already. Yeah, what I didn't like was that there are really many storylines and you have so many characters, but I didn't feel as connected to them as in book 1. It was too... I don't know, I didn't feel as good about the characters in this book, and they really didn't interest me as much at times. So that's always a bad part because it makes you not to be interested in reading along. What I didn't like as well was, but that's more because book 1 was so awesome and it's a bit because of the hype around it. I anticipated always great plot twists. It's like when you read Song of Fire and Ice series, you know that there are so many cruel plot twists and there's so much happening and you never know how the person you like in this second turns out in the next. And so when the plot twists finally happen, you don't enjoy them as much because, oh yeah, I saw that one coming, or yeah, someone must have been betrayed, or I don't know. And I think that's really bad because the book's really good, but I just couldn't enjoy it as much. So there are a lot of interesting parts in this book, And whenever I read one, I was like, oh yeah, now the story is going to pick up and it's going to be super awesome. And then the next part was talk about politics. I felt like it was this constant up and down and up and down. And I really like my books more to be like straightforward into greatness, or I don't like this feeling of, oh, I don't know, is this the exciting scene or not? And this really made me, because I just wanted it to pick up and I wanted to be really excited to read along, but it didn't happen for me. My memory card was full and now I talked for ages without recording. Yeah, by the end I just wanted to finish this book because it took me nearly 2 weeks to read it, or maybe really a whole month to read it, and I don't know, I was just tired of it, and I read and read and I just didn't seem to get forward. And yeah, the ending was really interesting. It ended with a big cliffhanger and you learned a lot more about the Well of Ascension for sure, and a lot of other things, and you see people you haven't seen in a long time. And yeah, the cliffhanger makes me really want to read book 3. I mean, I would have read book 3 even if book 2 was awful, so I really want to read book 3, but I guess it will take a bit of time. I need a few months to recover and be excited again. I gave this book 3 stars. I was a little bit disappointed. I guess I shouldn't be, because it was still a good book, but I'm just not that interested in battle scenes and war, and I'm more interested in the adventure type and the mists and the Well of Ascension and the magic. But the nobility and their armies, they're just so I hope that book 2 was this bridge between book 1 and book 3, and that book 3 really gets it going and really shows us all the mystical elements in this world and what's going on with the characters. Yeah, I really look forward to it. Brandon Sanderson is an amazing writer, and I feel a little bit bad because I only give this book 3 stars, but yeah, I saw a lot of people here on BookTube who rated it 5 stars, so maybe I'm the only one who didn't like it as much, but everybody likes different stuff, and I definitely recommend this book even though I didn't enjoy it as much. I think the series in itself is still really great, and I think everybody should read it because you probably love it. That was my review. I hope you enjoyed it, and write down if you love Mistborn. Yay! Bye guys. See you soon.